Yes, hello students, welcome back to our channel. So in our previous video we have talked about the classification of elements as metals, non-metals and metalloids. So in this video let us talk about the trends in the physical properties. That means physical properties like atomic radius, ionization enthalpy, electron gain enthalpy, how the trend of these physical properties like atomic radius, ionization enthalpy will move along the period and down the road. What happens? Let us study in detail regarding that. The first physical property we are talking about is atomic radius. So you have the concept of radius now with you. Atomic radius. It is the distance between the center of an atom, the distance between the center of an atom to the outermost shell electron is called as atomic radius. Is called as atomic radius. Okay. So this is atomic radius. For example, if you want to get the idea of the atomic radius, you know that the nucleus is at the center of an atom. We have this first shell and we have the second shell. Okay. So the outermost shell we call it as the valence shell. Okay. The distance between the center of an atom, that is nucleus, to the outermost shell of an electron, we call it as this is atomic radius. The distance between these two is atomic radius. Atomic radius. You know that this is the nucleus. We have the center part of an atom, and this is the outermost electron, outermost shell electron. So generally, when we are talking about the atomic radius, it is not so easy to measure the atomic radius because we know that we are talking about the distance between the center of the nucleus, that is center of an atom, that is nucleus, to the outermost shell electron. This is not an easy case because this electron is not present at a particular place. This is not stagnant. Okay, this electron will be continuous random motion. This electron will be revolving around this nucleus continuously. Clear? So because of that reason, we will not exactly get the position of an electron. So now we have some spectacular studies like we have spectroscopy with the high advancement in science and technology. With the help of the studies like spectroscopy, we can easily measure the distance between the nucleus and the outermost shell of an electron. Whereas in the previous decades, it was very difficult to measure the radius of an atom. Okay. So now let's talk about the two types of atomic radius. So we have covalent radius and metallic radius. Atomic radius can be split up as covalent radius and metallic radius. Let's talk about this. Yes students, these are the first two types of the atomic radius, that is covalent radius, metallic radius, and also we have ionic radius, van der Waals radius also. So in this video we are going to talk about only these two radius. The covalent radius, covalent bond, we know that covalent bond we will study in detail in the next chapter, that is in chemical bonding regarding covalent bond. So for the time being, let you understand that covalent bond is the bond which is formed due to the sharing of electrons. We will be having two atoms, that may be two similar atoms or two dissimilar atoms. Okay, but there will be a sharing of electron between the two atoms and a bond, a chemical bond will be formed due to the sharing of electron, that we call it as a covalent bond. Now let us look at the covalent radius. Covalent radius, it is the half the distance between the nuclei of two like atoms bonded together by a single covalent bond. So for example, we are taking chlorine here. So these two are the two chlorine atoms. These are two like atoms. Okay. So there is an electron shared between these two chlorine atoms, and there is a bond formed. There is a bond formed. Okay. So covalent radius, it is the half of the distance. Okay. It is the half of the distance between the nuclei of two like atoms. Okay. We have these two chlorine atoms. So this is the nucleus of first chlorine atom, and this is the nucleus of second chlorine atom. So now covalent radius, it is the half of the distance between the nuclei of two like atoms which are bonded by a covalent bond. Here we know that we have a covalent bond here. So this is the bond length, and the half of this covalent bond length, we will get the covalent radius. Okay. For example, we have a chlorine atom. The bond distance between two chlorine atoms in a chlorine molecule is 198 picometers. Okay, 198 picometers. This is the bond length, but we know that atom covalent radius is half of that bond length. Okay, half of the distance between the two nuclei of the like atom. So half of this 198 divided by 2, that is 99 picometers. This is 99 picometers. This is the covalent radius of chlorine. So this is the concept of covalent radius. And now we have metallic radius. We know the properties of metals. So in this case, metallic radius, it is half the internuclear distance separating the metal cores in the metallic crystal. We know that metal crystals are made up of huge number of positive metal ions which are surrounded by a sea of electrons, that is the negatively charged. So in that case, it is the half of the distance, internuclear distance separating the metal cores. We will be having two like metal atoms. So the half of that internuclear distance is our metallic radius. For example, the distance between the two adjacent copper atoms, it is the same, but we do not have a covalent bond over here. Okay, so the distance between the two adjacent copper atoms in solid copper is 256 picometer. That is the distance between the nucleus of two copper atoms, but the metallic radius is half of the distance. So it is 256 picometers divided by 2, that is we get 128 picometers. Okay, so this is metallic radius. Now students, we have one more ionic and van der Waals radius also, but before going to that, let us focus on the variation of this atomic. Now you got the concept of atomic radius. It is the distance between the center of the nucleus to the outermost shell electron. We call it as atomic radius. We have seen in the mathematics classes the radius, the distance from the center to the last point is radius. We know that. Okay. So now let us look at the variations of this atomic radius along a period and down a group. The variation of atomic radius along a period. What happens along a period? See, a period means we know that in the periodic table, the horizontal rows, we call it as period. We have 7 periods. Columns means we have these vertical lines that we have 18 in number. That is, we have 18 groups. Okay. So along the period, what happens? left to right, what happens to atomic radius? Atomic radius decreases. Why? As you move from left to right, why does atomic radius decrease? Let's take some examples. We have these elements, and we have their atomic radius. Okay. So for example, we have lithium. It is 152. All are in picometers. So elements, and these are all in picometers. So lithium, it is 152 picometers, and as we move forward, we have beryllium, we have 111 picometers, and next we have boron. It is just 88 picometers. See, if you look at the trend, the atomic radius is being decreasing as we move from left to right. It is from left to right along the period. Okay, and we have carbon. It is 77. And oxygen is 66, and fluorine is 64. See why this trend? Why, as we move from left to right, why the atomic radius is getting decreased? See, you need to understand the concept of the distribution of electrons here. As you move along the period, what happens? We know that atomic number increases. No doubt, atomic number increases as we move. As we move along a period, atomic number increases. Okay, as atomic number increases, number of electrons increases. Number of electrons increases. But as the number of electrons increases, there will be no addition of new shells. But there will be no addition of new shells. Okay. See, in the same period, as we go for the same period, the number of main shells, that is KLMN, remains same, but the number of, as atomic number increases, the number of electrons getting increased. See, this is the concept. As we are talking about now, the second one. Okay, second one, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, oxygen, fluorine. See, all this comes under this second shell. This is K shell and N shell. This is designated as 1. This is designated as 2. We are writing electronic configuration 1 is 2, 2 is 2. Okay, the same thing. So as we move along the period, the atomic number increases. As atomic number increases, the number of electrons increase. But although if electron number is increased, it has to be accommodated in the same shell itself. There will be no increase, there will be no addition of new shells. So what happens? We know that there will be some force of attraction between the nucleus, positively charged nucleus, and the electrons, negatively charged electrons. So as the number of electrons increases, the effective nuclear charge increases. Effective nuclear charge, that means the force of attraction between the nucleus and the outermost electron on the outermost shell, electrons increases. So what happens is this nucleus will pull the electrons towards itself. So finally the atomic radius will shrink. Okay. So this is the reason for the decrease in atomic radius along the period. As the number of electrons increases, there will be no addition of new shells. The effective nuclear charge is nothing but the force of attraction between the nucleus and the electron increases, and nucleus will pull the electrons towards itself. So atomic radius decreases. Clear, students? So this is the concept why as we move along the period, atomic radius decreases. Now let us look at Yes. What happens as we move down the group? As we go down the group, atomic radius increases. As we move down the group from top to bottom, atomic radius increases. As we move down the group, atomic radius increases. So let's take some examples for this. We have some elements and their atomic radius in picometers. Okay, so we have lithium. Lithium, it is 152 picometer. We have studied in last day also. And we have sodium, it is 186 picometers. Sodium, and we have potassium, it is 231. Rubidium, 244. Cesium, it is 252. See, observe this trend as we are moving down the group, vertical columns, as we are moving down the group, the atomic radius are being decreased. What is the reason for this? Okay, so as we go down the group, what happens? No doubt, atomic number increases, the number of electrons increases, but there will be addition of new shells. As we go down the group, atomic number increases, so number of electrons increases, and there will be addition. This is the important one. There will be addition of new shells, and there will be addition of new shells. So atomic radius increases. Let's do this. For example, we have this. In the first, we will be having only one shell, and later on, if you move down, second, third, and fourth shell, it keeps on increasing. As the number of shells increases, what happens? The distance between the nucleus and the outermost electron should increase. If that distance increases, that is your atomic radius. This is atomic radius increases. Okay, this is the main concept. Based on this atomic radius variation along the period and down the road, we have the variations of ionization enthalpy, electron gain enthalpy, electronegativity. All this depends on this concept. Okay, if you are clear at this concept along the period, what happens, down the road, what happens, then those topics, those trends in the physical properties will be very easy for you. Okay, this is regarding the variation of atomic radius along the period. Along the period, as you move from left to right, atomic radius decreases. Okay, and whereas as you move down the group from top to bottom, atomic radius increases.